Welcome to iLecture Online. In this example, we're dealing with investments. We have Tom that can invest up to $12,000. He doesn't potentially want to invest all of it, but he has as much as $12,000 to invest in stocks and bonds. But it does want to invest at least $5,000 in stock. What is the possible combination of investments that he can have? So it's going to be a range. And we want to express the two kinds of investments with two variables, and already did so. Let x equal the amount invested in stock and y the amount invested in bonds. But now we need to come up with two inequalities. Well, first of all, the total amount of investment cannot exceed $12,000. So that means that x plus y must be less than or equal to $12,000. Cannot be more, it can be less. And then he has a specific restriction to the stock. He wants to invest at least $5,000 in stock. And y is the amount invested in, x is the amount invested in stock, so x must be greater than or equal to 5,000. Those are the restrictions. Now, based upon that, can we figure out what the range of investments can be? So, again, what we're going to do is we're going to turn those into two equations to find the boundaries. So the first equation, we can at least label the inequalities. So the first equation becomes x plus y less than, oh no, that's going to go away. Now it becomes equal to 12,000. And then we want to put in the format of y equals mx plus b, which means we're going to move the x to the other side, and we end up with y is equal to minus x plus 12,000. And there's equation number one, which gives us the boundary of inequality number one. And notice, since we have both less than or equal to, there'll be a solid line represented by that. On the second one, we simply have to write x is equal to 5,000. There we don't need to change it anymore, so that's equation number two. And now we have our two equations representing the two boundaries. We can now go ahead and graph those two. So let's do that over here. Here's the y-axis. Here's the x-axis, and the first equation, y equals minus x plus 12,000. So we start at 12,000, like this, and we have a -1 slope. That means we come down here, and this will be 12,000 over here. Now, of course, we need to keep some reality checks in there because we know that x must be greater than 0 or equal to, could be equal to. Can it be equal to? No, it cannot, because there's no restriction there except that it must be greater than or equal to 5,000. So we don't need this one, but we do need, I'll make this number 3. We do need this restriction that y must be greater than or equal to 0, because we cannot have a negative investment in y, which will be in bonds. So that will, of course, be y must be greater than 0, which means that anything below the x-axis is not going to be part of the solution. Now we need the second equation. So this is equation number one. Equation number two, x equals 5,000. So here's 5,000. No, that would be y. We don't want it there. We want it at x. So let's put it right here. There's 5,000 for x. And we draw a solid line straight up. Good. Now we want to do some checking. We want to take a test point. And I always like to use the test point 0, 0 if possible. And we're going to see on these two lines, I'm going to draw it continuously this way, continuously that way, continuously this way, like that. Is this test point on the correct side of that line or not? Does it represent the desired region? So we're going to take inequality number one, and instead of writing x and y, we're going to replace x and y by 0 and 0, and to see if that is indeed a true statement. So 0 plus 0, instead of x plus y, is that less than or equal to 12,000? Question mark. And the answer is, of course, yes. 0 is less than 12,000. The answer is yes. That means my 0, 0 point is on the correct side of this line right here, because that's line number one. That represents the dividing line for region number one. So this is the correct region. This is the wrong region. So I get rid of the region I don't want. Okay, how about this region right here? We have the left and the right side of that line. So for inequality number 2, I'm going to plug in 0 for x and see what happens. So 0 is that greater than or equal to 5,000 question mark. And the answer obviously is no, because 0 is smaller than 5,000. The answer is no, which means that this lies in the incorrect region. On the other side of the line is the correct region, so we want to get rid of the region that is incorrect. Scratch that out. And then we have this region as the only region remaining. And this is the region where Tom is going to invest in. We want enough of the x. X represents amount invested in stock, and only this much in y based upon how much he's invested in x. So you can see that as he invests more in x, there'll be less and less and less money available in y. And that is how we represent the region of investment that Tom can invest in. Anything combination, so any point in here represents a legitimate point, a legitimate value for x and a legitimate value for y that he can invest in, continuing to keep himself under those two conditions, that the maximum is $12,000 and at least 5,000 of it will be invested in stock. And that is how it's done.
My way would have been so much easier.
My way is fail-safe, gives you the right answer.
Fail-safe. You don't have to check. And then yours is always works out because the 0, 0 happened to work. What if 0, 0 doesn't work and you have to substitute actual numbers?
Oh, you mean when the line goes right through the 0 and you can't pick it? Then you pick 1 and 0.
No.
Easy enough. Or 0 and 1.
Well, if they both go through 0.
Well, it doesn't matter. You just pick a line just to the left or the right of the line. A point just to the left. Works. No problem.
My way is so much easier. Prove it.
Let's see here. So, your way, and I'm going to use a different color.
Better color.
A different color.
Better.
We would end up with y is less than or equal to minus x plus 12,000. And so that would be line number 1 right here.
Not on the same graph.
Oh, okay.
You use the other color. Use another color.
You want this color for the graph? Okay. So here's our y-axis, there's our x-axis, and we have the line like this, where this is 12,000, and this is 12,000. And we want y to be smaller than negative x plus 12. So smaller means to the left and down. So this is the region that you want relative to that line. Correct? All right. And then for the other one, you end up with x would be greater than or equal to 5,000. So that's this line right here. This goes through the point 5,000. And you want it to be greater than, so you want this region right here. And then, of course, you have this region where y is greater than 0. So you want the region that's above the y, above the x-axis. So that means that this here is the region that you want.
So clean and simple, isn't it?
It does appear to be clean and simple. All right. Hmm? And a nice color. That I admit. Okay.